Welcome back to the FC Magdeburg rebuild. Tommy Stroot has found it very difficult so far in his first season in the Bundesliga, with FC Magdeburg being in 15th position, 1 point clear of relegation. So this is the team that's clinging on to safety in the Bundesliga. Seeing how we've only scored 8 goals in 15 games, it seems like we can use improvements in any position of the top 3. In game, Davy Selke's actually felt pretty good to play with. He feels strong and he can head the ball down. He wins aerial duels. So the striker position I'm not the most concerned about replacing, but so far Atik and Sika have been a step below par, I believe. We're going to go take a look at our budget in just 1 second, but I don't think we'll be able to get anybody in permanently, so I think we'll have to heavily rely on loan deals. Looking at our budget, as you can see, there's only £2 million to use in this January transfer window, because a big bulk of our budget did go to signing Merlin Roll permanently, and I still think that's a good deal. However, I feel we've been let down by our winger situation, so hopefully we can improve that in the loan transfer market. The first name we're able to secure is a left winger from the Premier League. We have got Samuel Illings Jr. from Aston Villa. It says a 2-year loan, but because we're in January, I'm pretty sure that's going to work like a year and a half. He comes in at 75 overall rated, and he brings something that the team does not have a lot of, and that is pace. And we were also able to bring in Armando Broja from Chelsea for a 6-month deal. I said I wasn't going to focus on the striker situation, but we were able to get him loaned in. He's 77 overall rated, so hopefully he can help us out up front and score some goals for the club. So thankfully we were able to address the offensive situation by bringing in 2 good players I think could play a big difference. They'll start for us on the bench and probably find their way into the starting 11. And luckily we've had no offers come in for any of our players from any of the bigger teams. So for now our team is set, and we'll reevaluate the situation on transfer deadline day. We mentioned earlier on that we were just surviving in the Bundesliga, and that was not an over-exaggeration. We are 1 point safe of the relegation playoffs. FC Magdeburg have already been eliminated from cup competition, so now we can give 100% of our focus to the league. We'll have 4 games before the January transfer window closes. The first at home against Bochum, then 2 tough away games with Union Berlin and then Bayern Munich, and then what feels like a must-win game away at Cologne. So let's get right to the first highlight pack, starting with Bochum. To match day 16, where we welcome Bochum to the MDCC Arena. It would be Magdeburg who get on the board first, with nice pressing by Bergvall, get Selke the ball, he's unselfish, and feeds Rashid Ghazal for his first goal for the club, making it 1-0. Very early into the second half, it'd be Benjamin Qureshi again, who's just been relentless on defense and those counterattacks, or starting those counterattacks, as David Selke, who slots the ball home, making it 2-0. Then we have our first sighting from Armando Broja, who doesn't get his first goal, but seals the game in another way, picking off the pass and then being taken down for a red card. That would lead to the 2-0 win. Then for a tough game against Union Berlin, it would be Broja now getting on the board after Diawara played his best game for Magdeburg. He slides in the big striker and he slots it by the keeper, making it 1-0, and that's how that game would end. Switching over to other results, we had a 3-1 loss to Bayern Munich away, and an absolutely massive 3-2 win at Cologne. The transfer deadline day, where we encountered a scenario we really didn't want. Wolfsburg being one of the 6 German teams we have to accept offers from, that meant Linus Gekter's out the door for £5 million plus David Odogu. We've also sent Simon Jensen on loan to Werder Bremen for a year and a half, and other youngster Gabriel Meyer went to Darmstadt. And because that Linus Gekter deal happened so late, we had to act fast, and we did. We brought in Jalen Neal from Estudiantes. Started his career in the MLS, young center back. He's going to come in. We got it for a B rating, which is good. And we only used about half the amount of money from the Gekter deal. He comes in at a 69 overall rated, but his potential is much higher than that. With transfer deadline day over, this is the side that will be leading us into the second half of the season. Illing Jr. and Broja have taken over the left wing and striker position, and I've decided to go with Jalen Neal in at center back, moving Hugonet over to the left side of the central defense, because I like the flexibility that Itter gives us off the bench, coming in at either center back or left back if needed. And I also expect Idogu to get some playing time as well. Time for a quick look at the youth academy. Nothing much has changed here. Aaron Fisher is still the diamond in the rough with his 90 to 94 potential. He's 63 overall rated and he's 17 years old, so I'm going to keep him in here as long as possible, or until we get that email saying he's ready to tear up his contract. But Aaron Fisher and Joshua Frenzer will be promoted to the big club by the end of this season. With the 14 games remaining in the season, we'll be focusing on the month of February, first with a home game against Union Berlin, then tough back-to-back matchups against Leverkusen and Dortmund, before games against Bochum and Freiburg. It would be great if we can get anywhere in between 7 to 10 points from these 5 games, so let's jump into the highlights and find out. We start off this highlight pack with a game against Union Berlin. There's a tifo of Illing Jr. as if the fans knew something was up in this game. Just before the half an hour mark, it would be Illing Jr. taking away the ball, going all the way himself, and putting the ball past the keeper, making it 1-0 FC Magdeburg. In the second half, Sidney Rieberger would win a ball in the air down to Junior, and this is just a great solo run where it looked like Union Berlin were expecting a pass, it never came, and that's 2 for the low knee. And then right before the 70-minute mark, it'd be Kremeshi playing a ball into Davy Selke, who heads it down to Illing Jr., who then gets his hat-trick goal, sealing this game for FC Magdeburg. A big game for Illing Jr. as he collects the match ball for his first hat-trick for the club. Next up, it would be Bayern Leverkusen coming to the MDCC Arena, and they would get the bulk of the chances this game. With Terry coming in, he plays the ball back, it goes all the way to Frankie de Jong, who has a shot from about 25 yards out, but a big save by Ryman. Early on in the second half, it would be Leverkusen again, it would be Terry with the chance this time, but Ryman closes the door. With so many games where we were holding on and we'd end up losing it late, it'd be nice to get a lead with Bergvall playing Kremeshi in, and he scores, making it 1-0 Magdeburg in the 81st minute. But Leverkusen would almost get that back right away as Florian Wirtz would be played in. He has to step on Michele Kenko, but it's another big save by Ryman as FC Magdeburg hold on to win 1-0, biggest win of the season so far. At this famous arena, Signal Iduna Park, to take on Borussia Dortmund. Unfortunately, it would not be the same result as the Leverkusen game, as Bayer would go wide, he stays along the byline, and then scores possibly one of the ugliest goals I've ever seen, but it still counts, and that makes it 1-0 Dortmund. This game would be seen off as Alex Golovin, who played a really good game for Dortmund. He was everywhere. Is having his way in the box, plays a 1-2. This ball would eventually come to Malin, and he scores past Ryman, making it 2-0. Dortmund get the win. Unfortunate result for FC Magdeburg. Fast forwarding to other results, we'd have a 1-1 draw against Bochum, a 0-0 draw against Freiburg at home where Borja picked up a red card very late on, a back and forth game that we'd eventually lose 3-2 to Stuttgart, a big 2-1 result away at Düsseldorf with Broja and Illing Jr. picking up goals, a pretty impressive 1-1 draw against 6th place Mainz, and lastly a tough 3-2 loss to Wolfsburg at home. We received 2 emails with 2 unsettled youth players, but they're not the 2 you think. The first one would be Joshua Frenzer, who we are going to promote to the big team. He's 17 years old. The other one was Niklas Richter. He just turned 16 years old. His potential is very high at 86 to 92, but his overall is only 58 right now. I don't think Galano or Fischer turned 16 before this year's over, so I don't think we have an issue of promoting Richter. And then in case we get an email from Aaron Fischer saying he wants to be promoted as well, we can do that because we'll have one more youth promotion available. So we're going to go ahead and promote Richter right now. Here we've used our 1 pre-contract signing for Olivier Daman from Werder Bremen. He's rated 74 overall and was really the best player possible that I was able to find across all major leagues. He'll be a left back, a position we have a lot of coverage for, but just to bring someone in at a 74 overall, that's I think a big deal for us. There would also be a loan move out as Omar El Zain will be joining Genoa on a 1-year loan deal next season. When we take a look at the league table with 6 games left to go, FC Magdeburg have made it all the way up to 12th position. With how jam-packed the middle of the table is, it's not impossible for us to finish in the top 10. However, most importantly, you can see we've distanced ourselves from that relegation zone and relegation playoff, which is the #1 goal for this season. So with our remaining games, we'll rotate the team, give some of our young players a look, and hopefully finish as high as possible. Taking a look at the calendar, as you can see there, it's Borussia Mönchengladbach who are right in front of us in the standings as that game first. Then it's RB Leipzig, Heidenheim again, and then into Frankfurt, Augsburg, and Hoffenheim. So we'll play a few games and then sim the rest to get to the end of the season. So match day 29 would see a visit from Borussia Mönchengladbach. For what was a pretty boring first half, this would be the best chance. When the ball would come to Armando Broja, he would go a bit too wide and his shot would be easily saved, 0-0 at the half. Pretty deep into this game, Broja would get another chance as a cross would come in from Kraft. Broja chests it down and puts it by the keeper, making it 1-0. This game was far from over though, as in extra time there would be a crazy chance for Borussia Mönchengladbach, as there would be a shot off the post and a crazy double save by the captain, giving all 3 points to FC Magdeburg. Next up would be RB Leipzig, and this would be a game to forget for FC Magdeburg. Inside 10 minutes, the ball would eventually come to Victor Gyökeres, and he makes it 1-0 Leipzig. Less than 5 minutes later, it'd be Gyökeres again, who just weaves by the defenders and slots it by our youth academy keeper, who's making his first game, so this was unfortunate for him. But even more importantly, as you see goal number 3 go in before the 30-minute mark, this would just show how we're still far and away from the top teams in the Bundesliga. Just to insult to injury, there'd be a 4th from RB Leipzig, and of course, FC Magdeburg would lose this game. Jumping ahead to some final results, we had a 2-1 win away at Heidenheim. Their poor season continues. A very difficult 5-2 loss to Frankfurt at home. 3-2 loss to Augsburg, and finally we earn a point on the road to 5th place Hoffenheim, with Broja getting a goal in the 86th minute. Taking a look at the league table after that tough end to the season, we ended up finishing in 13th position, but I still think it's a really good result for FC Magdeburg. It was looking real dicey at the halfway mark of this season, and we weren't even sure we were going to survive relegation. So to finish 17 points safe, I'm pretty happy with that. But as we saw in the highlights, we are far away from the top teams in this division, where we're not even close to winning those games. Hopefully with surviving our first season in the Bundesliga, we'll have a lot more money to work with next season. Taking a look at the DFB Pokal tournament, Bayern Munich won that over Nürnberg 3-0. Real Madrid won the UEFA Champions League 2-1 over PSG. It was PSV Eindhoven who won 3-0 over Villarreal for the Europa League. And Tottenham end their trophy drought when they won the Conference League 4-1. Once again, taking a look at our youth academy, Aaron Fisher is now up to 65 overall. Obviously that potential is still there at 90 to 94, and we're definitely going to promote this guy to the big club for next season. That will make 3 of 3 youth academy promotions used in season 2. We also have Fisher and Galano, who are still coming along nicely, both at 62 overall rated right now, so that's nice to see. And we've also signed Sho Yoshitomi as a right back from Japan. His potential started out at 80 to 94, but as we can see, it's dropped pretty dramatically since then, but we'll keep an eye on him for now. Switching over to the squad hub to check the stats for this season, and it was Samuel Illing Jr. who led the way with 7 goals. So obviously not the silky offense we had down in Bundesliga 2, but again, we survived, so we can't complain too much. And this is a promising sign for Illing Jr. because the 7 goals and 2 assists only came in 17 appearances. We then had 6 goals from David Selke, again, not the 25 he had last season, but 6 is still good, we'll take that. Emil Kraft chipping with 4 goals, Broa 4 as well, Gazelle with 3 and 2, and Benjamin Kremeshi with 9 assists on the season led the way in that category. And also shout out the club skipper Rahman, who had 11 clean sheets this season. So that'll wrap it up for season 2. Season 3 will start with trying to fill the holes of Broja, Bergvall, and Kraft all going back to their parent clubs. So again, hopefully the board helps us out and we get a lot of money to try to fill those gaps. The good news is I believe Illing Jr. was signed for a 2-year loan, so we'll get him for all of next season as well, so that's a huge boost to the club going forward. So that is what we're going to call it on this episode. If you haven't already, please leave a like on this video and subscribe to the channel, it helps out so much. And leave a comment down below for players you want me to go after in the upcoming transfer windows. The next episode of this series will be dropping Monday morning at 9 AM, and as always guys, thanks for watching.